am back. We are here to go over the Housewives of Miami. I am going to be recapping both episodes, season 7, episodes 11 and 12, which were titled Unfollow or Unfriend, and Uncivil and Seville. I did get behind because I was in finals last week, but I am out of finals. I passed. I'm here. Hello. We're going to get into the episode. For those who are not used to seeing James on my channel, James did have surgery about a week or two ago, or I believe 2.5 weeks ago, on his knees. He decided to take a break from YouTube while he goes through the recovery and things like that. He says he should be back on YouTube in September or October. A lot of the shows that he covers will no longer be on the air by then, but there's also some shows that will be added back. So be sure to check in with his channel or click the link in the description of this video so that you do not miss when he returns. But let's start with the episode Unfollow or Unfriend. Y'all, this episode, the Housewives are up and down. I'm tired of all of it. I don't like how they treat Gertie. I'm sick of Kiki. I am disgusted with most of the cast, honestly, the Housewives of Miami. They on my nerve. So Unfollow or Unfriend starts with everybody preparing on a rainy day, complaining about how Lisa was late to the trip. And, you know, Larsa asked what happened. And Larsa points out also that Lisa was in St. Bart's, which for those who do not know is a beautiful island, a vacation island. And she feels like Lisa's full of it. I'm kind of sick of Lisa too, because it's like, honey, you're not that busy. It's not cute to be that late. If your court is making you so busy, I would have rather you said, I have to miss the trip because I'm in the middle of the divorce, versus going on the trip while also going to St. Bart's and then acting as if you don't owe anybody an explanation. Like, you're never going to be so famous that people respect that. If Beyonce can be on time, if the president can be on time, then you can be the fuck on time, Lisa. If Lisa wasn't rich, I'd hate to see her working a regular job. She'd be on unemployment all the time because she'd be getting fired left and right for attendance. I just know she would. But the group ends up splitting in two. Some of the women go shopping and the others went to eat. But we do learn that the group is going to try and plan a surprise birthday party for Stephanie, which irritated me because I'm like, y'all are so quick to do stuff for Alexia, for Stephanie, who's new to the group. They're so quick to support everybody but Gertie. And Kiki too, but Kiki's too busy being an Uncle Tom that she doesn't see that. But I'm just really irritated with how someone surviving cancer is a big fucking deal. And I feel like if Gertie had a skin complexion similar to the rest of the women, they might acknowledge that it's a big deal. But okay, it's cool. So Stephanie mentions to Marisol that she is more enjoyable away from Alexia, which I think most people notice and agree. Marisol is, listen, I love my best friends. I do. But I'm not going to be so loyal to them that I feel like a different person when I'm away from them versus when I'm with them for others. That's ridiculous. That means you're too far up the ass. And honestly, a lot of the energy that Marisol gives for Alexia, I don't see Alexia giving in return. It's quiet as Skip. Because Alexia's broke perpetrating ass, as she liked to make us believe, Show wouldn't be planning shit in another country for nobody. Partially because she can't afford it, but we don't know the other reasons. Now, let me know in the chat too, for those watching our replay of this live, like, do y'all feel like the friendship between Alexia and Marisol is equal? Or do you feel like Marisol's just like doing too much? Like, I would love to know. But we get to other parts of this and everybody's eating and they notice that Kiki is down. Womp, 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 Kiki. Cry us a fucking river. I'm sorry. Like, I empathize for what Kiki discussed, but I'm also looking at her like, girl, you in another country if you don't stop. Now, Kiki mentions that she feels stressed trying to help her family members in Haiti. Haiti is going through a very difficult time. I encourage everybody to Google what's going on in that country. It's definitely not safe. People are unable to travel there right now. So naturally, people want to escape and kind of come over here if able. Kiki feels obligated to help people, and she just helped another 5 family members come into the United States. But it sounds like when she's helping people get here, she's the one financially taking care of everything. honey, if that's the case, you might want to give us a little bit more on this fucking show or stand by Gertie so that you can have a job, because I really don't see the point of Kiki being a full-time cast member. I just don't. And if she's not a full-time cast member, I still don't see the point of her being on this show. She doesn't give much. But her family members are sending death threats. And Gertie's trying to explain, because Gertie also came here from Haiti, like she's trying to explain the culture. And Julia's face was odd. And I personally think Julia's a racist on the low that's going to hide it by having Black friends and adopting a child that's of color. That is my personal opinion. I am not saying it is the fact of what Julia feels, but the way that she behaves and the microaggressions that I watch and am triggered by when Julia interacts or responds to a struggle by someone of color on the cast that is Black descent, I don't like it. Because why are you making a face, Julia? Stop. Call your kids, the ones that came out of your coochie, and make it right about adopting the Black kids that you haven't seemed to feel the need to tell the rest of your family about, which is weird. But, you know, Kiki, I empathize with you. I wish you the best. You're in America. The people who can't get there can't get there. It's not on you. If you feel a way about it, maybe see, I suggest maybe seeing somebody who's culturally aware. I'm just going to go off camera for a moment because my phone just flew across the floor, y'all. But Kiki doing this song and dance and having these tears about her family situation, it was just a little like, not the time. I don't care. Sorry. I wish her family the best, and I think what she's done is beautiful, but give us more, Kiki. I'm getting tired of these same sad storylines. Now, the other group, while walking, Marisol, Larsa, Lisa, and Stephanie and Adriana meet up, and they discuss Alexia and all that's going on with Todd back in New York City. And I'm like, so if Alexia is sleeping with Todd, is talking to Todd, is so in love with Todd that she doesn't want anybody to speak negatively about her relationship, why the fuck are we on a trip that's supposed to be for Alexia and the difficult time she's going through with Todd? Can we not make the trip about Alexia? Y'all could have just said we rich bitches and we want to go to Spain. Why did this have to be for Alexia and for Todd when they're still messing with each other? And Todd just aired out everybody on this show. So I'm looking like, can we just never talk about Todd again unless it's to air out Alexia or get rid of her? I feel like if Alexia were to leave this show, no shade, the cancer would leave this show. And that's no pun intended to like Gertie, but Alexia is one of those females that pretends to be a girl's girl, or she's one of those people who you see who has a very large support group, appears to have lots of friends, a loving family, all of these things, but she brings the negativity to most situations, but we'll never see it. I don't care for Alexia at all. I don't need her to be on this show worth a damn. Now, Larsa asked Lisa why she has not unfollowed her ex. And Lisa says that they had issues. And so she changed her mind. I'm like, Lisa, that's stupid. So your issues were because you were still following Larsa's ex-boyfriend, which was weird, and hanging out with him. So you lacked girl code. I'm actually on Larsa's side with this. You tell her that you're going to unfollow him, but then you change your mind because you don't like the instances and interactions that you guys have had. So you randomly change your mind to decide, I'm not going to unfollow him, but you don't tell her that. Instead, you let her find out. Now Lisa is playing coy. And I'm not understanding. I'm just not understanding what Lisa expects. Like Larsa in general is messy, but this is one time that I don't feel like Larsa is wrong. I think it's stupid to get mad. I know it's stupid, and I know when James was on this live, he would, I don't care if my friends are following my ex. He was lying. He told a bold-faced lie. Ain't no way anybody would just be okay with that if someone's supposed to be your real friend. Like, no, ain't no way. So I'm looking and I'm just kind of like, Lisa's wrong, but Larsa should also let it go. Once people show you who they are, believe them. It's just how I feel. But I do feel like Lisa and Jody's relationship is weird, and there's things within it that are probably super concerning. But Lisa tries to defend herself to Marisol. and says that she took notes when dealing with Larsa, which is weird. Why are you taking notes when dealing with your friends? Why are you taking notes when talking to people in regular conversation? That's weird. Like, what if I just pull out a notepad while in an argument with my husband? Like, that's weird. What are you doing? This is not court. And I don't know. She says she takes notes on the insults that Larsa gave. What is taking notes on what insults Larsa throws at you going to do? You're already being filmed. So what's the need for notes? I don't understand it. I just don't. So I'm not going to discuss her and Jody because I feel like Jody wants to be on camera and I don't like it. I think it's very strange how he's involved with this beef that Lisa's having with someone else. I think it's very strange how he acts more like an assistant than her man. That's all I'll say there. But the group does go to eat together, and everybody agreed that it's crazy that Lisa will not unfollow Larsa or unfollow Larsa's ex. No one understands it. And they discuss the things in the car. And for some reason, Julia is speaking so much about a subject that has nothing to do with her. And her and Lisa end up getting into it. And honestly, even though Lisa is wrong, Julia, this isn't your fucking business. Why are you going back and forth and speaking with Lisa about this? Why is Julia's old ass still here? Nobody seems to like Julia. I can't find a single fan of her. It doesn't seem like she likes herself. Her daughters don't like her right now. Nobody in the group should like her, but I feel like they just side with her because they rather side with her than Gertie for reasons that are not okay. Like, I really hope Gertie eats them up at this reunion because I'm sick of it. But the group goes to a cultural event for Spain. I'm not going to go over it, but I do like that while they were in this country, they actually did things within the culture. So I felt like that was a nice thing. But after they do their event, I believe it was some drawings and some other stuff that they did, we learned that there was a verbal brawl between Larsa and Jody again. And this is where Larsa exposes that Jody has been blowing up her phone. That's weird, bro. That's really weird. If I get into an argument with James, who is a male and one of my best friends, my husband is not then going to blow up James's phone. That is weird. I am not going to blow up the phone of someone my spouse is in an argument with. If you're not my spouse, I don't care. I'm on their side. That's how it should be. But Jody's taking it a little too much. I also think it's very ladylike of Jody to be wanting to get involved in the drama. And Lisa learns at the dinner before it could be addressed that she has an hour to sign something with the notary related to her divorce so that she could avoid trial. And yes, Lisa could have quietly left and just been like, I'm sorry, there's an emergency. I need to excuse myself. That's all she had to say. But Larsa goes off because Larsa is sick of Lisa. And she tells Lisa how she came into the trip late, announces to everybody at the table that Larsa's not the best friend, and then decides to announce all these big things happening in her life in front of everybody instead of just leaving. And Larsa decides to bring up the text with Jody, showing that Lisa wants drama and is trying to act like Jody's not the problem when he is. And Lisa's like, I had no clue that he was doing this. I thought she started it. I don't know which one to believe. Lisa, you do know which one to believe. I think Lisa is so desperate for a man that she will throw her friends and everybody under the bus for a man, because you're not even divorced yet. And you're literally having issues with a friend over the next nigga, but you're not even divorced yet. To me, any man willing to date a woman that's not divorced is a red flag himself. Because as quiet as it's kept, I know women like to, men are difficult. It's hard to find a good one. But when you do, they don't be playing about marriage and would not do this type of weird shit. So I feel like Lisa there's something wrong with her. There's definitely something wrong with her. You can't heal just by moving on to the next. You just can't. But that's where that first episode ends. And then we pick up with episode 12, UNCIVIL and SEVILLE, where Larsa reveals the text messages, where she actually reads them. And it's like paragraphs of this other man being combative with his girlfriend's friend. I'm like, Jody, do you want to touch Larsa's bootay? Do you want to touch a titty, get a little feel in? Because why else are you having this energy? Hi, Shani. Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't understand why else he would be having the energy. I genuinely don't. But Lisa ends up walking off because she has to handle her stuff, and everybody sides with Larsa. And Gertie is the only person to go and check on Lisa, which I appreciated. Gertie's fair, and Gertie will check on whoever has been left. Like Gertie knows what it feels like to be left out and kind of the loner and all of those things. So I appreciate how, she's supportive. Shani says somebody trying to live in somebody else's skin. Exactly. But Gertie was very supportive. She's a girl's girl. Lisa needs to be called a notary, not Gertie, but okay. But Jody, of course, calls back and is like, it's okay, babe. I've got us a notary. So you put her through all this shit, Jody. I see what he did. And then you found out her problem. And you're like, let me fix this problem. I found an online notary. That's all we need to worry about. How dare that man tell her that all they need to worry about is the notary when she was only worried about that. But you want to go and act like a bitch made nigga and text her friends, getting involved in female drama. I had a girls trip and had beef with females so bad that I got on a plane and came back home. I complained to my husband. He had the phone number of the girl. He didn't bother her. Why are you as a man going to put yourself in some other female's bullshit? Bitch made. That's Jody. But he tries to manipulate it. I've solved the problem. There's a notary. Okay, Jody. Whatever. Gertie took the phone and said what Lisa should have womaned up and said to Jody. Stop texting my motherfucking friends. I'm like, why did Gertie have to tell her man to just leave the women alone? Why? And I know y'all was trying to come for Gertie like, oh, she sent her husband and kids home before she read Julia for filth with those texts. As she should, because why are your kids and your man going to be involved in your beef with your friends? Jody is weird to me. Something is wrong with him, and I don't like that he waxes his chest. It's always way too shiny, and I don't like it. It bothers me. But Adriana says that we know how men play games to Alexia and brings up Alexia in the situation with Todd. And I was like, Adriana, why are you bringing up Todd? I think Adriana was trying to be like, well, the point of this trip is to help people get over men we shouldn't involve. But Alexia was like, don't bring up Todd. I'm like, bitch, you're on this trip because all you bring up is Todd and how bad he is and how awful he is. But because the dick is good, you want everybody to just forget about it. Like, I cannot with these women. The balance is just off. It's off, and I'm sick of it. But Lisa does eventually come back to the tape. Oh, my God. Okay, the cat's going to be in the live with us. Apologies. Lisa does come back to the table, and, she mentions that she doesn't feel like the texts were that bad. I'm so sorry, y'all. The cat was curious. I guess he wanted to know who's she talking to. But, Lisa doesn't understand. It's not about if the texts were respectful or not. It's about the fact that it was disrespectful for him to address Larsa. Because what man does Larsa have that can address him or Lisa? So it's not okay. It's not okay. Shani said, you're a cat person, twin. I'm a dog person. I actually love all animals. I am just an animal person. My husband will tell y'all. We went to look at some cats to adopt yesterday. Didn't see nothing that worked. I was like, okay, let's go look here for cats. But we could also get a gecko and a iguana. Let me get a rabbit. I just like animals. I find animals to be easier than people. I just do. But that's why I be having my camera off, because my cat is very demanding with love, and he will just come on me and be like, hey, I don't care what you're doing. Give me affection. I'm like, hey, little nigga, I can't do that right now. I am also allergic to cats. I have to take a prescription. Otherwise, I break out into hives. I have to have an EpiPen, but I don't pay for it because it's $400. But I just love animals. I'm allergic to all of them, but I'm going to keep touching them. So for some reason, everyone brings up Lisa getting upset at taking notes when she comes back to the table, which is stupid because she's taking notes on shit that's being said, but you guys are on camera. So why get mad at her taking notes if the camera's watching her do that? And why is she taking notes if the camera can just record and she can watch back what she needs to notate? I don't understand it. But Julia gets sick of it and decides she's going to put her mouth on everybody else's mouth. No shade, y'all. Julia's mouth goes on the other lips of a very old and not very attractive sweaty tennis player. She needs to keep her lips the fuck where they belong, to her and Martina. She better not ever get up to fix herself to kiss me. I cannot with Julia. I just can't. Is the cat a Gemini? Also, because it sounds like the cat is saying, I'm not going to be ignored. This cat is always saying that he will not be ignored. But his birthday's in March. He is, I believe, a Pisces. Yes, he's Pisces. He's Pisces, the kitty cat. They also don't like to be ignored. They're just calm with it, Shani. They just calm with it. Now, Adriana, throughout this whole episode, we all know that Adriana's intelligent. Adriana's a friend of. I was not aware of that. I've always thought she was a cast member because we see so much of her. She needs to be a full-time cast member. She is funny. She will read you for filth. She will get drunk. She doesn't seem to side with people, and she calls out what needs to be called out. Allegedly, she turned 60 in 3 days, too. So good for you. You look good, girl. But Adriana's funny and highly intelligent. She was saying and giving us basically the history tour of all of Spain. That I love her intelligence. And I know people like to talk about her and, oh, she looked this way or act this way. But any woman that's highly intelligent to where she could be her self-guided tour, I'm here for it. I'm here for it, especially those of color. Now, the trip that's meant for Alexia, even though she didn't need it, turns into a trip that is now going to be about Julia asking a couple that she knows to be the godparents to her children that she just adopted, the 2 Black kids that she adopted that need to be in therapy based on how they were taken away, who need to be around Black people so that they can have a sense of culture, which does matter. It does. And no, it doesn't mean Black people are being racist. If you adopt a child, if I'm Black and I adopt a child that is Hispanic, it would be irresponsible and inconsiderate of me not to teach them about their Latin and or Hispanic heritage. If you adopt a child from Russia, it would be insulting to not teach them about their heritage. Culture defines who we are. So I find it interesting that Julia adopted these kids and don't seem to have no Black role models around these kids whatsoever. Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, they singing the songs at HBCUs for the Black kids they adopted. I don't know what the fuck Julia's doing, but okay. By the time the kids graduate high school, as Stephanie said, Martina will be 80 plus years. Who signed off on this? I just want to know. Shani said, you know, I don't watch this show. I'm just here for you and the crack jokes, the picture on your screen. Which one is the 60-year-old? She's not in the picture because she's not a full-time cast member. She's not an actual housewife. She's just a friend of, but you know. She said, if you adopt the child from Kathmandu, you better teach that child about the cat, the man, and the dude. Exactly. So Julia just seems to be doing everything wrong. I don't think this was a good season for Julia. I hope they get rid of her. I really don't care for her. Replace Julia with Adriana. Hell, they both the same age, please. But Stephanie and Larsa basically state that they do not want Lisa on the plane to Marbella, which is the next place they're going. And Stephanie feels like the other women have given Lisa several allowances to be late and disrespectful for years. And now she's getting into it with other people and feels like Lisa being on the plane is problematic. And they also point out that since Lisa's arrived to the trip, the vibes have gone down, which honestly, what they're doing is fucked up and mean, trying to ice her out. But they're not telling any lies. Like Lisa being late, that shit's not cute. That shit's not cool. Don't nobody like that. That's so rude and inconsiderate. And it's not just like 30 minutes late. Like this bitch be 2 to 4 hours late to stuff. Like it's not funny. It's not cute. At some point, it just becomes uncouth and disrespectful. But talk to her. Like y'all planning to get people off the plane. It was weird. It gave mean girl energy and showed that certain women on the cast have gotten close and will work together to oust someone else out. And to me, Bravo needs to step in and production needs to stop that because it's ridiculous. It is a cast trip. Thank you, Shani. Shani said, is this a cast trip? Because if it is a cast trip, how you going to tell somebody else that you don't want them on the plane that you didn't pay for, thank you. Thank you. I think Stephanie did play for the private plane though. But Stephanie should be the only one being vocal, not the rest of them. But maybe this will teach Lisa also to have some respect for other people's time if she wants to have respect and empathy in return. Like maybe the bitch will learn. However it happens, as long as she learns, right? So Lisa speaks to Gertie, Kiki, Adriana, and Kiki says that she does not feel that it's okay for Jody to be texting any of the women, which everyone agrees was wrong. And this is how they finally got Lisa to unfollow Marcus Jordan. I know Marcus Jordan is getting some type of a something from his name being mentioned on this show so many fucking times. To break up with a nigga and then be talking about him so much. This is the only reason I'm looking at Larsa like, girl, you fake as hell too. Stop tripping. Let that woman follow who she follows. Because if he's a public figure, you can only do so much. And if you're done with him, then be done with him. Her following him doesn't mean she's talking to him. But the more Larsa brings up the fact that Lisa follows him, the more you're making him relevant. I can't. I just cannot. I just can't. But she unfollows him, and Julia and Marisol, they talk with Lisa about her notes. In another scene, they don't like that Lisa takes notes, and they ask her to put her phone away. And they say that when they go on the plane and when they go on a trip, they're going to have a basket for phones, and they say they want everyone to put their phones in the basket. Now, these are women who are eligible for the AARP cards. There is no way in hell that anybody's going to tell me what the fuck I can do with my phone. If I am not in court, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do with my phone. You're not. You better have me arrested or in court. That's the only time. I'm going to do what I want to do with my phone. I'm not saying you can't put it down, but I thought that was a little excessive. So what? Now every time she's around you guys, she has to turn in her phone? Unrealistic. Crazy as hell. Shawnee said, you remember the Real World back in the day when they kicked David out and said if he didn't leave, the ladies would leave? I've told them, bye. I got bad homies in NYC that can stay here. I love the Real World. It'll never, I know they tried to bring it back. It'll never be the same. It'll never be the same. I loved the Real World. Loved it. I don't know if anybody watched Tammy Roman when they brought back the LA one on Venice Beach. Them colorless people was driving Tammy crazy. Her husband came up in there. I said, oh, Lord, the Real World is not. It shows you times have changed and now people got to be more aggressive. But Shani said, for you two, twin, the only ones that can say no phone is court and class. Right. The hell? That's crazy. That's crazy. But the talk didn't go well. And of course, you know, Lisa walked away and was like, I'm not doing that. I have my kids. I have this divorce. Like, I have to keep my phone on me, which is true. But Lisa, you should also say to them, I'm not going to take notes. If people tell you they do not want to be recorded or they do not want you to notate what they're saying, then you should respect that. And in some places, that's actually illegal if you don't. So Lisa's dumbass better talk with her attorney and figure out some more. But we get to the dinner and Lisa does decide to go to the dinner, but she actually answers the phone when someone calls her to let them know that she will be late and tells them to go ahead without her. Tells them to go ahead without her to be 2 hours late. But I was hollering because Adriana announced at the table, even though they were not supposed to, that Lisa unfollowed Marcus. And Gertie had to remind Adriana she was not supposed to discuss that. And Adriana did look confused in the scene when they were saying that, because we know Adriana be drunk and sunburned and some more shit. And she was looking off at other stuff when they said it, when they showed the little playback. And she go say, they were like, Adriana, you didn't hear it? She's like, I was looking at the birds. I actually believe her, y'all. I actually believe Adriana was looking at the birds, because when they were looking and they showed that scene, they're talking and like shaking and making a pact. And she was like, huh? She was looking all up in the sky, taking the setting in. Adriana don't hear half of what any of them say. In my mind, if Adriana is around and there's any form of alcohol around, she's not catching it. She's not catching it. She's a student, okay? She's trying to get her 19th degree. She don't have time. She's just enjoying whatever small moment she can. That's me on vacation. My husband would tell y'all, especially through college. It'll be work, work, work. At home, he could barely get me to drink more than a glass of wine. On vacation, shots, more shots. You know, so some people are just that way. Let Adriana be. Let her be. But, oh, Lord. Lisa arrives an hour later and acts like everything is good. Kiki points out that Adriana broke the promise when Lisa arrives. And, you know, Adriana says to Lisa that it wasn't like that. And which it wasn't. I don't think it was. And Kiki interrupts, and Adriana told Kiki to stop acting so ratchet. And I was like, you cannot say that to a Black woman, especially if you're not Black. You can't just be out here calling people ratchet, because that is a microaggression, and it does come across as another way, because when people think of ratchetness, they don't just think of someone that looks like Adriana, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. And we can act ignorant, we can act dumbfounded, but y'all know what the fuck it is. And if you don't like my opinion, you don't have to watch this live. That's just how I feel. But I thought that was a little odd of her to say. And of course, Kiki goes off, and Julia's racist ass, because I thoroughly believe this lady, Kiki's overreacting, ignored her. How the fuck are you going to tell a Black woman that she's overreacting about being called ratchet? Because she pointed out that somebody broke a promise that they had stated they would not break. That does not make her ratchet. That doesn't. She could have said, Kiki, stop being messy. Stop stirring the pot. How is that to be ratchet? To where even Alexia, Marisol, Lisa, Gertie, even Larsa, the only people who did not recognize the ratchet comment as problematic was really Julia. Stephanie didn't look too bothered, but not bothered enough to say something. Like, but Julia, stop. It's not okay. You don't say stuff like that to Black people. And if y'all motherfuckers who wasn't Black would take the time to get to know us instead of judging us and acting and practicing and living in the microaggressions you feel towards us, then you could understand what to and what not to say. But when you're intentional and not wanting to learn, or intentional in being defensive about not wanting to be accused of doing anything bad to a person of color, it's problematic. Julia, she's overreacting. Bitch, I want to see somebody send Julia to Zeus so she can experience ratchet. Send Julia and Adriana, send their ass right to Zeus so they can know. Please. I can't. And Adriana's highly intelligent as well. You have to take cultural competence with every degree you get in college for the most part. So I know that Adriana knows better than to make that statement. So Kiki was not overreacting. Mind you, I don't even like Kiki, but she was not overreacting. Shani says she should have told her mama, yo mama ratchet. I can't. Does she even know what it means to call someone ratchet, or is it just something she heard someone else say? Adriana is not stupid. I think she knows, especially in Miami, what that word means and who that word aligns with. She knows what she's doing. We're not going to act like she doesn't. We all have to take the same GEs to go to college. And she's talking about her Harvard degree and all of that. Well, I know the bitch took cultural competence. So Adriana knew better, and Julia is crazy. And in that order, there's nothing nobody could say to change my opinion. There's nothing anybody could say. But Kiki, Gertie had your back. So I want to know why you unfollow Gertie and is acting funny in interviews. That's all I'm going to say to you, Kiki, because I can only defend you so much. But I didn't understand, because Adriana then interrupted and says that she's going to leave. And she says she's going to leave like a grandma, because Kiki was like, and you're old, bitch, if I'm ratchet, because Adriana is old. And Adriana says, well, this old bitch is going to be like a granny. I'm going to leave so I could go take care of your kids. And I said, okay, Adriana, that time I feel like it was a misspeak because English is not her first language. But also I'm like, okay, just let Adriana go. And everybody looking confused, and people sitting in Spain, you know, and this isn't even a thing of color. Americans, we don't know how to act in public because they did not read the room. They allowed their emotions to get into it. First of all, who the fuck is mad in Spain? People I get into it with on vacation, I don't travel with on vacation anymore. In fact, people I get into it with on vacation, they can hardly get me to call them back. And that's facts in my real life. So I don't understand why these women would act this way on vacation, especially somewhere like Spain where they already hate Americans and is a little bit racist, I'm just saying. But, you know, it is what it is. So Adriana and Stephanie, they end up leaving. And I was annoyed because Lisa offers drinks to everybody in the restaurant, but then she almost fell on her ass, which was funny. And this was all caused and started from Lisa, is the thing. Because Adriana exposing something about Lisa, like why is it a big deal that Adriana even exposed that Lisa unfollowed Marcus? That's peaceful. Why would Lisa want to keep that a secret? To make herself the center of attention. So I'm just looking like everything always comes back to Lisa in some way. Love Lisa. She's funny, but they really do need to check her about her attendance and things like that. If you're too busy to do a show, then don't do a show. But you need to check. And I think Lisa, to a certain extent, needs to act like she needs her job, like the rest of us have to do sometimes. But I didn't understand Stephanie's tears, didn't care for them. Something my husband said about Stephanie that was funny. He was like, I could understand the work that she had to get done when she was speaking about it, because he said all that makeup just to have a basic face. I said, well, damn, Mr. Best, why you got to do all of that? Stephanie crying was stupid. But Larsa, Stephanie, Alexia, and Marisol, for whatever reason, are really embarrassed, and they decide that they want to come up with a plan for who's going to sit where on the plane. And Gertie is always put to the back. They think that they run shit, this group of women, Marisol, Alexia, Stephanie, Larsa. They're figuring it out. You know, Marisol made a comment. Marisol was like, this is messy what they're doing. The seat choices and changing stuff up, putting people to the back and segregating them. Like, this is shady. Marisol's like, I want nothing to do with it. And this is why people say, Marisol, that you're different away from Alexia. Marisol's sitting there viscerally uncomfortable, knowing that what these women are doing is wrong. And I'm actually happy to see that Marisol has some type of a conscience to know that the behavior is not okay or fair. But instead of opening her mouth, she's just like, I'm going to sit there and drink. I don't agree with it. And that's the difference when you look into, even in history, people who stand up for rights and people who know something's wrong and just go along hoping it'll get better. Like, Marisol, stand up to these bitches, because you're one of the few people they might listen to. They actually might listen to you. I'm sick of it. I felt like the episode was just catty. You got a bunch of bitches with their AARP cards running around, hating on each other for stupid shit. You got a man who wants to be part of the girls, and one of the girls back in Miami stirring the pot on a trip. Like, I just cannot. I can't. But I'm interested to see what happens next week. That is where that episode ended. Both of the episodes were interesting, but I'm definitely over the season and I want to get to the reunion. The Housewives of Miami did well this season thus far, but I'm ready to get to the reunion. I feel like they're going to drag this out like they did the Valley, but we shall see, y'all. We shall see. Let me catch the comments before I go. Shani said, when I'm on vacation, I want no problems. I don't want to hear no bullshit. If you got a problem, I'll see you back at the hotel or the boat. I know how to go off on my own and enjoy myself. That's important. Last girls trip I went on was coming into New Year's 2018. We did a girls trip. Them bitches acted a complete ratchet mess, talked about me on the internet, and then was mad that I wouldn't argue with them. At one point during the trip, I left, came home to my husband, got some dick, went right back on the vacation. Then they was mad. Where's Amina? Eating by myself in a restaurant. Where's Amina? Playing the slot by myself. Where's Amina? I went and did shit on my own. It's always good to be able to do stuff on your own. Shani said, I've left my girlfriends when they didn't want to go nowhere. In Italy, Turkey, Hawaii, shit, it might happen when I go to Vietnam and Cambodia. I love that you've been so many places. And as you should. If I take a flight anywhere, if my flight is longer than 30 minutes, you're not stopping my shine. You're going to be arguing with yourself, the wall, the air, whatever you got to do. But it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. So I love that. I love that. But y'all, that was it for this episode, or both episodes. Season 7 episodes 11 and 12, Unfollow or Unfriend, Uncivil and Seville. I am going to do another live. It's going to be for Deb's House. I did recap season 1 of Deb's House when she was looking for female rappers, rocky run, which she deserved. It was well deserved. I'm going to do that recap maybe later this evening. and we'll go over Deb's house. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody enjoys their Sunday. My husband's name, his rap name is Oh So Best, but his actual name is Josiah. He says hello. He came back from the gym. One day I will have my husband to come and say hello to all of you people, because he's actually the reason I got the computer, the internet, the funding, all of it to do what I'm doing. She says, when I say hi, I want to use his name, not just twin husband. No worries. His name is Josiah. You can also call him Also Best Joe, Mr. Joe, all of those things. He appreciates, he be watching it in these lives too. He knows all of you guys. But I love all of y'all. I'm going to see y'all for the next live in a couple hours. Go enjoy your Sunday, especially if you have sunshine. The Bay Area has clouds and coldness. Adios, y'all.